Hey everyone, welcome to my channel Cooking the Code. If you're preparing for a JavaScript interview or just want to improve your coding skills, you are in the right place. In this video, I will show you how to reverse a string in JavaScript without using the built-in function. So yeah, let's get started. So the problem at hand is how do we reverse a string in JavaScript without using built-in methods? Now, we will implement without built-in methods, but for those who don't know, I just want to showcase how we would do that with the built-in methods. I've added timestamps so you all can skip to the non-built-in methods approach if you all are already aware of it, else you all can just watch along. Okay, so the easiest way to do that is you create a function, of course, right? Create a reverse string function, right? It will take a string as an argument. Okay, now what we want to do is we are aware that we have a reverse method that is available in JavaScript, but this is applicable only for arrays. Okay, you can't use it for strings. Okay, it is only applicable for arrays. So the trick that people use to quickly convert the string into its reversed form is to take that string, convert it into an array. Okay, then after you convert it into an array, you reverse it using this reverse method, and then after that you convert that array back into the string. Okay, so how do we convert a string into an array is we use this method called as the split method. This will convert this into an array. Now since it is an array, we can convert it, we can use this reverse method, right? Now it is a reversed array, but we don't want a reversed array. What we want is a reverse string, right? So we go from string to array using the split method, and we go from an array to a string using the join method. Okay, keep this in mind, these methods are really handy. Okay, and the reason why we have specified empty quotes is because a string, okay, just a second, I'll just quickly show it to you. IntelliSense, okay, let's say JavaScript, right? Repeat. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we want to split this into an array at what condition, right? At a no space condition. So what this will do is it will split it as j will be one element, a will be another, v will be another element, a will be another element. So in this way we will get an array with 9 elements, each being an own character, something like this. Okay, like j, a, so on and so forth, right? Then we apply the reverse method, convert it back, and then we join it again at that same empty space condition, which will give us our expected output. Okay, so I've got my terminal open. You all can even execute this in the browser. So the way we do this is node script.js. Why script.js? Because the name of my file is script.js. Also, I mean, it's pretty obvious, I have node.js installed in my system. If you all don't have node.js, you all should, because you're a JavaScript developer, you all should have Node.js because everything requires Node.js, right? Or any runtime for that matter. More on that later. Else you can go the normal way of having you create an index.html page like I have done over here, add the script tag, okay, and then run this particular page, copy this address, right? Copy this address and run it in the browser, copy this path and then paste that in your browser. It will work just as fine. Or you can use something like live server. Okay, I use the simplest approach, which is this. Okay, so as you can see in the console, right, we got the reverse. Okay, now this was using inbuilt methods. Now what we want to do is we want to achieve the same thing, okay, without using these built-in functions. Okay, so the easiest way to do that is let's go at it step by step. Okay, this part will be the same, so I'm not removing this. Okay, and of course we need a console, right, to view the output. Okay, so now the problem with strings in JavaScript is that strings are immutable. Okay, means once you create a particular string, you can't change its value. Okay, you cannot. Okay, more on this, we can cover more on this in some other video. Okay, but for now just understand, once we have a string value, we cannot change it. Okay, if you want a detailed video on this, I can create it. Please let me know in the comments. Okay, so we first create a local reference variable, okay, called reversed. You can name it anything. Okay, and now think about it. Yeah, strings are immutable, right? But we can certainly loop over them. Okay, so now if we wanted to iterate over this string JavaScript, how would we iterate? We would use a loop. Let's say we were using a for loop, right? So we have this j, so when I is 0 it will be over here, then when we increment we'll go to a, then v, and so on and so forth, right? Now think about it. What if we iterate from the back, right? T, P, I, rc, and then as we iterate over it, we just append it to a string using the string concatenation operation. Okay, in the end what we will get is a reverse string, right? So that is exactly the easiest approach that you can follow, is you create a for loop, let I is equal to 0. Okay, now I no I'm sorry, we don't want it from 0, right? We want it from the end. Okay, so how do we get that? Okay, so we create an end variable. Okay, and over here we can store the length of the string. Why str.length? Because str is the string passed. Okay, so this value gets stored over here. Now some people might have a confusion, why am I storing this in a variable instead of doing, I could just avoid this line and add it over here. Okay, so there is a reason. What will happen is this will get calculated at every loop if we do it this way, and that will just increase the execution time. It won't be much, but yeah, it will certainly be something that will be an overhead. So it's always better to always, if you have a length variable, always store it in a variable and then place it inside the loop condition. In this way what will happen is we will be saving time while compiling. Also this will not be length, it will be length minus 1. Okay, yeah, why length minus 1? Because the length of the string is 9, right? But if you see, indexes start from 0, so 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, right? So this will, okay, this is a bit complex, right? So let's take something like Java, right? So J will be at 0, A will be at 1, P will be at 2 and 3, right? But the str dot length for this would be 4, and if we add if we don't do minus 1, it will start from 4, which is out of bounds, right? Something that we don't want. Okay, so hence we did that minus 1. Yeah, okay, so over here then what we'll do is our condition will be less than, greater than, equal to 0. Sorry for that space. And then we'll just decrement. Okay, and as we are decrementing, what we will do is we'll take this reversed variable, right? And then we'll do something like reversed, okay, plus str, which is the variable that is getting passed in over here, okay, with the index. Okay, now this can be written as this, a shorthand. Okay, and then at the end what we will do is we want to return this particular reversed string. Okay, because if we don't return anything, our function will not return anything, which defeats the whole purpose. It's like you did all the work but you didn't do the final step. Okay, so let me just change this, and let's add TypeScript over here. Okay, yeah. So yeah, as you can see, it is still working. Interviewer is still not happy with this solution and he asks you to try another approach. Here is another approach to reverse a string in JavaScript. Okay, and that we'll do using recursion. Okay, recursion, for those who don't know, is a function calling itself. Okay, so let's just remove this, and I just want to change this name. You can keep the same name, but yeah, I'm just changing it. Okay, so the previous one was using iterative, it was using an iterative approach. This is using recursion. Okay, so watch closely. For any recursion to happen, the very first and fundamental condition, doesn't matter if you're trying to reverse a string, you're trying to find factorial, you're trying to do anything, the very first step that you should do is define a base case. Lol, base case would be so funny. Yeah, sorry for that. Is to define a base case. What a base case is, in it is like the terminating condition, right? So earlier I mentioned a recursive function is a function that keeps calling itself. Okay, so it will be something like that. You copy the same name, okay, and it will call this using some parameter. Okay, I'll just change this, but this is what recursion is. Okay, essentially this is not a base case. Base case is something else. So what is happening, we go inside this function, we have called it from line number 9, it will come over here, then from line number 6 again it will get called over here. Okay, so this condition will keep on happening. Okay, then it will come over here, then again it will go over here. So this is called as recursion. Okay, so what the base case does is that it defines a breaking condition, a condition that tells the recursion to stop, else you all can see, right, it will continue, and we'll get a stack overflow error, okay, in the browser or anywhere for that matter. Okay, so we need to define a base case. Now watch this carefully. When do we want our recursion to stop for, while recursing a string? Okay, when we don't have anything. Okay, when we don't have anything, a string is over. Well, what we'll do is we'll recursively go through every character of the string in this approach, and then when we finally don't have a string character, what we'll do is we will want to terminate the loop. Okay, so how do we terminate that? Okay, if what did I just say? If str, okay, if str is equal to empty, okay, what we will do is we will return an empty string. Okay, we want to stop. Basically, when we return from a function, we basically stop the function. For those who don't know, a lot of freshers are not aware about this, but when we use the return keyword, essentially we exit from the function. Okay, now, and if not this, we don't need to add an else condition, because yeah, we don't need to. For those who don't know, you don't need to add an else with an if. Again, this is a very fundamental concept, not restricted to just JavaScript. Okay, so yeah, now what we will do is we want to reverse it, right? We want to reverse the string. Okay, so what we will do is we'll take str and we'll use the substring method. Okay, again, this can be a little trippy. Okay, so just bear with me. Okay, so I'm adding one over here. What this will do is it will go from the first character till the end. So usually substring takes two parameters, okay, one and let's say three. What this will do is it will take from the first index to the second index. The third index gets ignored, so it will be just 1 and 2. If it was 1 and 4, it will be 1, 2 and 3, and 4 will get excluded. Okay, but over, and if you don't specify anything, it will go to the very end. So it will go from the first index, which is y, till the end, which is t. Now what we want to do is we want to take this, okay, and we'll just take str of 0. Okay, and sorry, I messed up the brackets. Yeah, this should be it. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, yeah, I know it looks very too good to be true sort of things, but our solution is done. Okay, I can prove it as well. So let's take React. Okay, okay, as you can see, it has reversed the string. Okay, so what exactly is happening over here? Okay, for those who didn't understand what the solution is, okay, I'll just cover it with you all. Okay, so very first, let's go through a dry run. Okay, we passed React inside this function, so it came on line number 2. Okay, now it will check the base case. Okay, it will check the base case. Okay, it will check the base case. Is str equal to this? Is it an empty string? No, we passed React, it's not an empty string, so it will skip this condition and it will go to line 6. Okay, now watch this very carefully. What will happen over here is this essentially is our recursive function. Okay, so what will happen over here is we'll have this, okay, and what will get passed inside of this? Some substring 1. So this r is 0, e is 1, so from 1 to t, so sorry, from 1 to index 4, which is EACT. Okay, so this will get passed in. Okay, watch this carefully. Okay, this is key to understanding any recursion problem. Okay, I'll just add it in quotes, does make a difference anyways. This is not our executing code, this is just explanation. And what is str1 over here in this case? It is str of 0 is what? R. Okay, now again, so recursion, right? Recursion, what is recursion, right? It is a function calling itself. So until and unless this base case is met, this will keep on executing. Okay, so again, this function will get called, but this time in the previous step it was called with React, now it will be called with EACT. Okay, so the same process will repeat. EACT will come over here. Okay, and then it will check the base case. Is str equal to, no, it's not, right? It is what at this moment? It is EACT. Okay, so it will come over here again, and again this whole process will repeat. Okay, so what we have passed in right now, we have passed in EACT. Okay, so again, as per our logic, we'll take from substring 1, right? So we'll take from 1 till the end. So in the previous index 0 was r, now in this occurrence our index 0 is e. Okay, so now what will get passed? ACT. Okay, and what will we add? We will add str of 0 again, which in this case will be e. Okay, now again this will get called again, right? You guessed it, right? So you see where I'm going here, right? So again, no point in repeating the same thing again. We have this logic, the base case will not execute because now we have passed what? We have passed ACT. Okay, ACT, line number 9. Okay, so we passed ACT, but will ACT get passed on? No, we'll pass on from string 1, right? So it will be CT. Okay, and what will be added? We'll get A over here. Okay, now again this will get called again, right? Because this is again a function, right? So again we'll call this, right? As the base case is not met, right? We have passed in what, CT, right? And is CT, no, is this an empty string? No, it has 2 characters, right? So now again we'll follow this logic, right? So substring from 1, okay, so C again will get excluded, okay? So yep, C, okay, again this will happen, okay? And this time what will happen this time? Any guesses? Okay, we'll have an empty string that is passed in, okay, because our characters are over, okay? So we'll pass in an empty string, okay? So T gets passed in because str0 is, and since we don't have substring from 1 because our index is, it's just 0, right? So 1 does not, here it's not there, so we'll get an empty string, okay? And again this will get called, and yes, finally you can see we meet our base case, right? So it will return an empty string from here, okay? It will return what? It will return an empty string. Sorry, I messed up the spelling. Okay, now remember, recursion is like a tree, okay? Whenever you traverse down a tree, right, it will go from the lowermost node to the uppermost node. So it will go from T to C to A to E to R, okay? Always recursion goes in that way, okay? As you go deeper, it goes from the deepest node to the outermost or the uppermost node, okay? So hence we get our solution T C A E R, okay? This is what we get. So this was the explanation for how recursion works. Hope you all got it. That's it. You know how to reverse a string in JavaScript without using the inbuilt reverse method. This is a common coding question that is asked in interviews, so make sure you understand the logic behind this. If this helped, please smash that like button, subscribe for more JavaScript interview questions, and drop a comment with your favorite JavaScript question. See you in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching, and of course, if you all have any questions, the comment section is always open. I will make sure I respond to all of them. Thanks a lot and have a great day.